Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Toonkind at 12 FPS. This one takes place after, was it Intercepted Transmission? Is that right?
Yes, it is.
All right. Um, I am Oatmeal. I will be playing the professor, and with me here.
Uh, it's me, Wick, and I'll be playing as, uh, well, you'll see. Everyone already knows, but
Yeah, and we start out on the Ellipsis. She is probably in flight. The uh, not making too many, she's not making the noises of like takeoff and landing, but she's making a few mechanical noises, and the central column on the console is going up and down. Um, and there's various lights that are on, and yeah.
um, now I do wonder.
Hmm.
Uh, the Ellipsis is aware of anybody or anything that's on the ship, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. So, I guess Ellipsis, you now have a kid attempting to communicate with you. Um, we can kind of cut over to uh, Bevin, but not the usual Bevin. Um, but from here on out, I will refer to them as just Bevin.
Mm-hmm.
Makes things easier.
Yes.
Um, Currently, they're in one of the many rooms that are in the ellipsis.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, and they're just laying on a small bed. They're kind of staring at the ceiling in the room. And they go, um, Ellipsis, can can you hear me?
Hmm. Uh, the background hum shifts just noticeably in pitch.
Okay. Well, and they kind of sit up. I I have to say thank you for letting me stay here. Um, I know it's probably inconvenient. And they move to stand up. But I think now I I've made a decision. So you think you could lead me to the professor?
Mm. And I think the door opens, and uh, uh, let's see. If you go into the hall, um, the lights dim in all the sort of like doorways and hallways except for one. So there is a lit path.
Oh, that's really cool. uh, Bev does that thing where you stick your head out and you look from one side to another, and then they see the one lit up path. Thank you. And they take quick steps down the hall. They seem a little anxious, but um, they know that they're safe here, so it
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah.
They've actually kind of got used to things here, but now they're on a mission.
Mm-hmm.
And as they approach the lit up door. They hesitate before taking the handle and opening it up.
Mm-hmm. And inside, I did roll for it. This is the workshop.
Oh,
Yeah, there are a variety of like power tools and machining like equipment and it just sort of seems like an all-purpose workshop. Like you could do probably wood shop stuff, metal shop, some handicrafts, etc. It's almost like a garage, but with no like car stuff. Actually, you know what? There probably is some car stuff in the corner, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but
well, you never know.
yeah. But the professor is at one of the standing at one of the work tables, and he seems to be working on he's working with like a stylus that's sort of shooting up sparks on a piece of equipment about the size of like a book.
Um, has the professor noticed?
I should probably roll.
Oh, I should stealth it.
Oh, geez. Yeah, you might as well, because he just rolled a 10 on perception. That's not great.
All right, let's see. Oh, okay. I thought I rolled a 10 for a second too. It's just harder to read. I rolled a 16.
Oh boy. Yeah, no, he does not notice. He's too focused. This,
Oh,
to be fair, this is making like some noise, but not a ton. Just kind of a slight buzzing noise.
because Bev like entered the room normally, but as soon as they saw like the professor working at something, they're like, "I should be quiet." So they kind of close the door quietly and just they slowly start surveying the room.
Mm.
And they're going to kind of wander through it a little, taking care not to startle the professor or anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because this is a workshop, and that might be helpful.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here. Like I said, some of it is a familiar sort of level of technology to where Bev is from. Some of it looks completely alien, and some of it looks downright medieval. And
Nice.
yeah, it's all just kind of like thrown together with no you'd think maybe organized by era. Nah. No, it's completely tossed together with absolutely no regard for chronological like consistency.
Good. It's an organized mess.
Yeah.
But do you mind if I roll investigation?
Go ahead.
All right, let's see. Let's see how you're feeling about this. Oh my god. That makes a lot of sense. I don't think they've been in here. That's a 9. They're attempting to look for something specific. They're having a lot of trouble because there's a lot of stuff in here, and they're all from different times.
Yeah.
So they kind of just poking around a little bit. They're trying not to touch anything, but they might like move something to get a better look at another thing.
Yeah. Let me think. I'm gonna roll to see if something happens.
Okay.
Oh, no, it doesn't. No, you
Oh,
you you seem to be stealthing still pretty pretty good. You haven't unluckily touched anything that's going to be cause a problem.
cool.
Your luck is holding out.
For now.
Yeah.
Um, so Bev is trying to look at the more modern tools and technology.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and for the audience, you can see Bev looking to some of the parts, and then um, hold on, let me roll a hammer space.
Mm.
Okay, that's cool. So that's a 3. They pull out. Uh, they pull out Taki.
Mm.
And they're kind of uh, looking the device over, and then looking at the myriad of stuff that's in the workshop.
Mm-hmm.
They're just trying to figure out what would be most helpful.
Mm-hmm. And if you don't mind, I'm gonna roll another perception.
Yeah. Should I roll another stealth for fun, or?
If you're still stealthing, absolutely. We can
Yeah.
test this. Oh, Professor. All right.
What do you roll?
It's not as bad. Let's see. That's yes, that is what I thought it was.
Not as bad. So you're probably good.
That's a 13.
You know, this makes sense now. Uh,
Ah.
I rolled a 9, and I
Mm-hmm.
think it's because when they pulled Taki out, they're like, "Oh, we're here now. All right," and they make a couple of signature beep boops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's
Bev
a.
tries to shush Taki a little.
Yeah, that's enough to get the professor's attention, and he stops the sort of buzzing stylus and looks up and um, just sort of like you can see him like jerk up a little bit in sort of mild surprise that you're like all the way in here and I didn't notice you sort of way, but he puts the stylus down and smiles and says, hello there. Are you looking for something?
Sorry, my mic. Okay, there you go.
Mm.
Bev seems kind of like opens and closes their mouth for a moment, and then goes, "Hi. Um, I sorry, I didn't want to bother you.
Oh, that's all right.
Um, I I had something I wanted to talk to you about,
Uh,
but
yes?
I didn't realize that you had a workshop in here.
Oh, well, yes. I, need somewhere to work on the ship's, various and sundry parts.
Do you think do you think we could fix hockey here?
Oh, I think I could do my best. If you want an actual, professional mechanic or, somebody with real expertise in, devices like that, we could find somewhere, or somebody who's honestly better at that than I am, but, I can certainly give it the old college try with what I've got.
Um, yeah, we could do that. I mean, because you have a lot of things here.
Mm-hmm.
Surely something could work.
Certainly. Let's see. Um, and he's gonna come around to where Bevin is, and he just kind of like looks at Talkie again, and looks thoughtful, and then turns and starts to pull something down off the wall. And it's sort of like it almost looks like a briefcase. And he puts it on the table, and he opens it up. And he says, this might help at least get to where we want to go with Talkie. This is a diagnostic tool. If you put Talkie in on the lit up surface here, we should get a better idea of what's the matter so that we'll know what to fix, if that makes sense.
Bev just quietly nods. And they take a small breath in before they go and place Talkie where the professor indicated.
Mm-hmm. And
this isn't gonna hurt, is it?
Oh, no, it's just looking. It's not doing anything to it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's almost like in appearance, it's almost like a scanner, like a print, like that would go with a printer. And he just sort of like hits a few different buttons and straightens out like Talkie to align with some line that's on it, or something that wasn't immediately obvious before, but like, you know, sort of lines it up with something. And there's a beam of light that does scan sort of down one way, and then stops, and then scans the other way, and then stops again, and then a little view screen pops out with a readout, and I'd say that the piece that he's using is probably a fair bit more advanced than Inkwell is in the current era. But it is a diagnostic device meant to see what an item is and what is wrong with it. So based on that, what do you think it would tell him roughly about Talkie?
Okay. It would name the item as a token type.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it could also say when it was made. It seems to be relatively recent. Not within the recent decade, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe a little longer. It's
Yeah, it's not 100 years old.
No, it is not 100 years old. But it mentions that it is it does have a computing device in it. It is meant to be an educational toy
Mm-hmm.
to help with spelling.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, along with the information, it probably starts building like a diagram of sorts, as to what it can see.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
I think that's fair.
And there does seem to be a portion within Talkie that is kind of highlighted. There seems to be something wrong there.
Mm-hmm. Huh. Can the professor I might roll for this, but can the professor tell what part this is? If you want, I can roll intelligence for it.
Yes, you can roll. You can roll with advantage just because you have this device, and it should highlight
Sweet.
what it is.
Okay, I got a nat 20 then.
Uh,
Well,
well, okay, cool. All right, let me figure out. Let me figure out what this means.
yeah, I wasn't
Um,
expecting that either, to be fair.
Cool. Hold on, let me see. Because I have a little bit I could figure it out. All right. Okay. So, what you get from you kind of just like you kind of tap the highlighted part. So now you can kind of like zoom in to see what's up. And as you do, you can see like these little labels kind of pop up telling you what things are. Like one thing is like
Memory.
listen, I don't know technology, but
Yeah, no, it's okay. You might have like memory, you might have battery, you might have like MIDI converters and stuff like that.
yeah. So you can tell uh, clearly what the issue is. There seems to be one or two sections that have large cracks in them. Seemingly by some blunt force. And it seems to most affect the speech synthesizer, a portion of the ROM, and looks like another section too. So I think that's that.
I think the professor would relay that information to Bevin. And then take Taki off the diagnostic panel and hand it to Bevin and sort of give like an apologetic looking face and say like we will have to open Taki up in order to fix these.
Bev looks very hesitating. So the problem is on the inside.
Correct.
I guess that makes sense. They look fine on the outside, but we have to fix the inner part.
Correct.
Bev kind of holds Taki out in front of them. Taki, are you okay if we open you up and do surgery? Taki makes a couple of beeps. And Bev just nods. He seems okay with it. So, guess.
All right. And I think probably he'll take Taki and put put Taki on the workbench surface and just probably like go get some tools and start, you know, carefully removing the outer casing and all that stuff, you know? Just get to work.
Okay. Hold on, let me roll a hammer space thing. Okay. So 7. So you do notice Bev following you around a little to see if they can help or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But at one moment you kind of look back at them and they're wearing like I guess at some point they've taken out goggles and like a face mask and like one of those hat things like you're gonna go into surgery.
Oh my gosh.
And gloves.
Man.
They look prepared-ish.
Oh, that's good. I love that. Man. Just to be a good example, the professor is gonna grab like a pair of safety glasses off the wall and put them on.
Did you need any gloves?
I think for this, I'll be fine. Thank you, though.
They slowly nod. Put the gloves away.
Yeah. Yeah, you get the feeling that he wouldn't bother with, like, anything at all if if she wasn't there. If it was just him. But yeah, he's gonna be careful to disconnect the power before touching any live wires or anything like that.
Yeah.
And like I said, taking off the outer casing and just sort of taking stock of the internal pieces, which I think he got an idea of what they look like. He might have to, take one out to get to the ones that were displayed as broken. Or cracked, rather.
So when you do take off the casing and kind of, before you, like, remove the battery, Taki gives a couple of beeps, and Bev goes, okay, you're gonna be okay. We're gonna fix things. So you're just gonna sleep a little. Okay? They give a couple more beeps. They seem okay.
That's good.
So you remove the battery just to make sure, there isn't anything live.
Yeah, because that would be bad.
But as you take off another protective portion, you realize this is a little bit different than the diagram. It seems to have the same structure, but along with different metal bits and wires, it also seems to have some strange light blue tendrils that pulse ever so often. Bev cannot help but stare a little. I guess I've never seen this before.
Yeah. Interesting. I have suspected for some time that Taki is not all that they seem to be. This is
yes.
clearly more than a simple. Well, I mean, I think it was clear from the start that Taki was more than just a simple toy, but perhaps. I wonder if this is organic in nature or a sort of techno-organic construct, or let's see. I think I'm probably gonna roll. What do you think, history or arcana? History, because, like, he might have seen something similar in concept, if not design. Arcana, if it's magical in nature.
It sucks because it's technically both. I think history might work a little better.
That's, yeah, works for me. That's a better modifier anyway.
Good.
Yeah. That's still just an 11.
Well, to be fair, this is the first time you've opened this thing up.
Yeah.
Hopefully the last. But, you could try to think back and see if you've seen this anywhere before. But the only time you can recall seeing these is when you rescued Bev. Those tendrils connected to the demiplane.
Yeah.
As you observe the rest of the inner machinations of this of this toy, you get the feeling that maybe it could possibly be organic, but it also gives off a bit of like an energy kind of vibe. You're not quite sure how to place it though.
Let's see. How about dur, dur, dur. I think I've cast Identify on Taki before, but I'm gonna cast it again and specifically touch the tendrils.
You're gonna touch the tendril.
I am gonna, yeah. Look, he is not. He is supposedly smart, but his intelligence is a +1. It's not great.
That's a mood.
So I am gonna cast Identify, which means if there's any like magic stuff or if it was created by a spell, then he could get a feel for it. Here, let's see. Touch throughout the casting. If it's a magic item or other magic imbued object, you learn its properties and how to use them, whether it requires attunement, how many charges. You learn whether the spells are affecting the item and what they are. If the item was created by a spell, you learn which spell created it. If you instead touch a creature throughout the casting, you learn what spells, if any, are currently affecting it.
Right, that makes sense.
But yeah, he does directly just poke his bare finger on the tendrils.
Cool. All right. Can you? Let me think.
I imagine I have a saving throw or something to do.
You do. I'm trying to decide which one. You know, okay. Why don't you make me a charisma saving throw?
Okay. Man, okay, that's a 10.
Perfect. All right. So, when you touch this tendril and cast Identify, you do learn a couple of things about it. Let's see. You get the feeling that the tendrils aren't originally part of this device. Perhaps it had been overtaken by these. You aren't aware of any charges of sorts, but it does seem to be connected in some way. Perhaps not quite attunement, but seems to be connected to Bev. In terms of spells, you can tell that this item and the tendril neither were created by spells, but you do feel some sort of. I'm trying to figure out what school of magic specifically. I think conjuration.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do poke it, you get this information.
Yeah.
But it starts out sparingly, and then it keeps going, and then you feel suddenly flooded with all sorts of information, but it's going too quickly for you to parse. And as this knowledge runs through your mind, you are suddenly overcome with a wave of different emotions. It kind of just runs through a bunch of different ones.
Oh boy.
I don't know what it lands on. Let me see. You feel, you felt like a rush of excitement, but then suddenly it turns to just this boiling rage and cycles through a few more before it eventually lands on rather a feeling almost of grief. But, yeah, that's what you get.
Man. Wow. Okay, wow, geez. I think he probably, he takes his hand off and, sort of, like, shakes his head a bit, as if to sort of, like, clear it out. And just sort of like takes a second to reset himself. Because wow.
Well, what is it? Are you okay?
I'm fine. So whatever these tendrils are, perhaps I should have worn gloves. But whatever they are,
Bev starts pulling off a glove.
Do not touch it. I am not sure, what it'll do to you.
Bev just like looks from you to Taki to you to Taki. And you have a feeling they kind of really want to poke it, but they're
he's gonna scoop it up and just hold it out of reach. I'm
wait.
serious.
No, it's okay.
It's
whatever it is. I want to be able to help.
All right. Just as long as you're prepared to have whatever it is, sort of insert a jumble of emotions into your mind.
Bev now looks a little hesitant, but reaches out a hand, a single finger.
Yeah,
and
he sort of just like rolls his eyes and sighs and holds it close enough. This is not a good idea, Professor.
And pokes the tendril. They blink once or twice. You said you felt a lot of emotion?
Yes. Sort of one after another.
It doesn't feel like anything to me.
No?
It just seemed kind of a little prickly, kind of like staticky.
Oh. Huh.
Do you need me to move them out of the way
Move them. Hmm.
to get to the thing we need to fix?
Uh, if you can do so without, tearing them, or disrupting their sort of pattern, uh, but if.
Nods.
Okay.
Here, why don't I roll for this?
Yeah, this is uncharted waters.
It sure is, because I don't know what's gonna happen either.
Uh,
Hey, that's pretty good. I decided to roll sleight of hand.
mm.
And I got a 17.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, with no mods. Oh.
Uh,
God, they're not. Anyway. So you can see Bev does put the gloves back on,
mhm.
just in case.
Yeah.
And very carefully, they start kind of like poking at the tendrils. They start trying to move them a little bit.
Mm.
And as they do, you realize that they start moving ever so slightly in the direction that Bev is guiding them.
Uh-huh.
And you see a few more start to move on their own to move out of the way.
Hmm.
So soon enough, you get kind of a little clear spot where you can kind of remove maybe a chip or two to get to where you need to be.
Yeah. 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 I think he's going um, to get started, sort of carefully removing those bits that they need to work on. And he sort of like shakes his head bemusedly and he says, well, I don't know. Maybe it's just because you're connected to Talkie that you're able to sort of have this influence on them. I wonder if this is some sort of neural network or what. But clearly it responds to you.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, Taki and I, we we did make a pact.
That's right, you did, didn't you?
I learned that during during my time in the room.
Hmm.
Because I couldn't imagine that just them asking to be my friend would mean all of this.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Hmm. Do you, do you have any idea what Talkie is? Because I'll be honest, they operate like some sort of extra dimensional, well, I should admit, some sort of extra planar, um, something, being of some sort that's just sort of inhabiting this device.
I kind of wonder that too. But Taki doesn't seem to want to talk about it.
Hmm.
I guess maybe it's a secret, or but
Maybe.
I think we got to the spot. And as another piece is moved, you now see where the damage is. Most of the area seems to have very fine cracks, but there is one section that has many large fissures. And it looks like, I mean, it doesn't seem to be anything out of the ordinary. Like, you don't see any thing coming out of it, so it should be just from that blunt force previously. You really think we could fix this? It looks bad.
Well, either fix or replace, depending on what it is.
Replace?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, power cells can be replaced, screen pieces can be replaced, even computing chips can be replaced. However, something like memory, I expect with the sort of thing that Talkie is, that we're going to want to just fix. I wouldn't want to replace the memory. That would be problematic, I think, at best.
Bev frowns and nods.
Is he able to tell what type of piece it is?
Oh, so like before, it seems like, let's see.
My main question is, like, is it replaceable? Does it need fixing? Is it a regular mechanical, like, piece of machinery?
It seems like, so it looks like the pieces that are in that make up and the tendrils seem to be like two separate things. There's no damage to any tendrils or other possibly organic
bits.
It looks like the areas with fine cracks could just be repaired because the damage isn't too severe. The most damage seems to be in some processing area. So there's less damage to the speech synthesizer and the ROM, but it's the processing portion that needs the most work. That may very well need to be replaced.
Could I... Let's see. It sounds like 3 pieces, two can be repaired, 1 possibly replaced. Can I roll an investigation to see if there's something in this workshop that could potentially replace it?
Yeah.
All right. Because that's gonna honestly be the easier thing to do for that.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, that is a 15.
Okay. All right, so with a 15... So as you start looking around the workshop, you're kind of in your mind trying to match what piece you could either look at for reference or to replace any of the parts. It doesn't seem like there's something that you could use to replace it, but as you look more at your tools, you do have a couple of options as to kind of like sealing up the cracks or repairing them in some way. So we can start there.
Okay, yeah. In that case, he's going to want to do that. I'm imagining some sort of soldering setup with extra bits of metal to sort of fill in the cracks that need to be melted in the appropriate areas to sort of get in there.
Yeah, I would say so.
All right.
And Bev's just kind of staring because, man, this is a lot of equipment. This seems complicated.
Yeah. I think he's gonna set up something like that. And and start there. Um, how do I?
Great question.
Sleight of hand.
You could either do sleight of hand or you can just do a dex check.
Sleight of hand is better.
All right, but you'll have to do one for each section that you work on.
Okay, yeah. I'll do one for the main one first, since I said I was doing that one first. The processing.
The really big one?
Yeah,
or...
the big one.
Okay.
The big, more broken one. Okay, Professor, come on, real good. Okay, that's a 10. That's not really good, but it's also not abysmal.
Yeah. Okay. So, you start the process of you know, melding the stuff that you gotta.
Yeah.
But as you go kind of, as the cracks go deeper and you try to go farther in to repair it, you notice that the tendrils start to shake a little.
Yeah, he probably stops what he's doing.
Bev pipes up. Is everything okay? Is Taki okay?
Well, he seemed to put up a bit of protest, as I was trying to get into the deeper bits here. Sorry, you cut out.
Bev looks to the professor and asks, maybe it hurts?
Yes, I just don't know if it's hard to tell if it's this is working pain, or this is the wrong thing to do pain. Maybe should he looks to Bev, and he says, "Do you think we should check with Talkie either way?"
But the battery.
Well, not in the normal way. I think with the tendrils.
Oh, that makes more sense. Bev kind of focuses in on one of the tendrils and reaches out, kind of touches. Let's see. So there was something I have to check with this part. It'll be fine. I gotta roll something. I believe it's that. Is it that or is it the other? I think it's that one. Okay. Oh, good job, Bev. Okay. So that's how you type this. Okay. So as they do, you can see their eyes widen a little.
Hmm.
It does hurt,
Hmm.
but it seems okay to keep going. Just maybe more carefully. You are being careful. It's just
Yes.
the Taki isn't used to that.
That's understandable. Yeah, and I think with that sort of go ahead, he's gonna try again, more careful. Um, Maybe with that insight, I roll sleight of hand with advantage.
Yeah? Yeah. Let's go.
Cool, cool. All right. Whoa! Holy crap! Man, both of them rolled well, but I got a nat 20.
Let's go. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yay.
All right.
So you kind
Yeah.
of just more intensely concentrate. And for a little bit, it almost seems like a bit of a hot and cold kind of game.
Mm.
So, like, if it gets to be too much, you see the tendrils start to shake. And, maybe to leave it be for a moment and work on a different portion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But slowly, surely enough, you start to fill in the cracks.
Mm.
And it does seem to take a while
Mm-hmm.
because the part you decided to start on, it's rather expensive. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's entirely fair.
you can oh my gosh. Okay. Um I decided to roll hammer space.
Mm.
And I rolled a 1.
Ooh.
Great.
Fumble.
We haven't seen a lot of the fumbles, so
Mm-mm.
16.
Mm.
What's the 16? Okay, that is kind of funny. Um, so as you are working very hard on this, Bev is kind of watching and it's seeing if there's anything that they can assist with. But you can tell uh, they feel a little restless. They kind of reach into their sleeve and it's without looking. So at first they kind of open up a little box. They go to eat something and then realize, oh wait, this isn't food. This is not the thing I was looking for. This is a box of matches.
Oh, wow.
They
Man.
slide that back in. um, they are going to attempt to try to get the right thing. Oh, that's good. That's an 8, so that works out.
Eh.
They put that away rather bashfully. And instead, this time they procure a different little box, slightly bigger. And they take out a little bit of candy from it.
Hmm.
But do you want to see what kind of candy they're
Yeah.
eating?
Yeah, I do.
um,
Do I need to roll for
you
that?
can roll perception, but at disadvantage because you're working on something.
Yeah. No, he's pretty focused. Ah! The duality. It's a nat 1.
Oh my god.
He straight up, he doesn't even notice that Bev pulled anything from Hammer Space. Man.
Well, I will say though, for the audience's sake,
Hmm.
they seem to have pulled out uh, rather familiar looking gummy bears.
Man.
Anyway,
God.
but
Oh.
as they notice you kind of getting close to the end of repairing this section, they kind of squirrel that away and they look tense, like, oh, they're gonna finish up this part.
Yeah. And as the professor is done with it and sort of like lets it sit and cool for a moment, he like straightens up from the work desk and just gestures at it and grins. It's done.
Correct.
Well, we'll know if it worked once we put everything back together, but near as I can tell, it's fully repaired.
Bev looks hopeful. But I decided to roll something for fun. I got a 4.
For fun, you say?
Uh,
Is it fun, though?
it is.
Okay,
Because
okay.
they went to put the gummy bears back and they missed. So instead, they have kind of ended up so instead of into their sleeve, it has been on the workbench. So you may now proceed if you would like.
Yeah, shall
You don't
I...
gotta roll it. It's within
Okay.
line of sight now.
Yeah.
Bev hasn't noticed it. It hasn't been in the pocket.
He just sort of, like, looks, and he, like, squints a bit, and he's like, is that what I think it is?
Think what? And they turn. Oh, I, and they kind of just pick up the box and now they shove it back into their sleeve. It's, yeah, I saved them. I kept them in the container so they wouldn't.
You're such a sweetheart.
What? Thank you, but I don't. And they look a little confused, a little bashful, you know. Did you want any?
No, I've got I've got more. And
Right.
he reaches into his pocket and pulls out another bag and hands it to Bevin. And he's just sort of like laughing.
I don't need it anymore, but you could tell by like the look in their eye, like, ah, yeah, gummy bear.
Yeah.
I was trying to ration them.
Oh.
No.
Well,
it's okay. They're still gonna take the bag though.
oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And you can actually see them transfer it into like another little box of sorts. You have a feeling that like it tries to keep it a little fresher-ish.
Yeah. He just sort of like shakes his head slightly and like just in a sort of like marveling way, like, man, Toonkind, Hammer Space.
Yeah. Some cool stuff.
Yeah. Like, you know, he is kind of an expert on like extra dimensional affairs of various kinds, and still like it impresses him.
Good.
Yeah. But yeah, but I think he's gonna want to move on to the other pieces. Um,
Um, and before we do, would you mind terribly if we just had a very quick 5-minute break?
yeah, we can do that.
Okay,
I'm good with that.
because there is a little bit more. Um,
Yeah.
I'll be right back. And I guess I should pause. I'm really good.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. Meet at the what's the oh yeah, no, it's almost 37. Yeah, give it a solid 5 minutes. All right.
All right, I'll be right back.
Yee. Ayo. I'm back.
Hello. Back.
Mm-hmm.
Right. On to the next two parts.
Mm-hmm.
um, and you can roll these with advantage.
Because they're easier.
Well, not only because they're easier, but well, yeah, no, pretty much.
Yeah. Thank you, Jay. Okay. That's, was I rolling? Sleight of hand? Okay, that's a dirty 20, and for the other one, dirty 21.
Wow.
Yeah. So 16 plus
Well,
1.
I guess in comparison, these seem a lot easier than the really extensive damage.
Yeah.
These are more they're much finer cracks.
And he does sort
And
of
so
know now to, like, be gentle, you know?
yeah, as gentle as you can be when you're soldering stuff.
Yeah, because, like, he probably thought before, like, okay, they're mechanical pieces, and now that I've disconnected them, like, it's not going to have any bearing on the organic parts of Talkie, but he was wrong. But now that he knows that, he knows how to be chill about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you actually finish those relatively quickly, in comparison. And as you seal up the final few cracks, uh, the the tendrils, rather than shake, just they pulse a little. Is that it?
I think that's it. I think now we just put everything back where it goes. Make
Okay.
sure that everything's running smoothly.
Mm.
And oh yeah,
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say the professor would just sort of start, like, carefully putting the pieces in and sort of asking Bev to help sort of guide the tendrils back into place, since they respond better to her, or at all to her, honestly. And yeah, with her help, he would put everything back in, put it in the right place, connect it all back up, and get ready to, you know, he'd put the power back in, but not necessarily on, and get ready to close it all up.
Well, slowly, you guys put everything back. I won't roll it this time. It's just going backwards. But you put the battery back in, and you close the casings. And I mean, Taki looks like Taki. The real test is hitting the on button.
Yep. And he's gonna hand Talkie to Bevin to do that. And just sort of points it out.
That takes a deep breath, and carefully hits the on button. And for a moment, nothing happens. But then the cute little doo 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 kind of goes on. Green lights up. And you had seen, I believe, a little bit of how glitchy Taki had been before. Now, there is nothing glitching at all. And Taki gives a couple of appreciative beeps. Okay. You're okay. Are you feeling better? And Taki responds, spell the word stable. Oh, okay. That's good.
That is good.
Bev kind of breathes a sigh of relief and just, you can tell now that they had pretty much been tense almost the whole time. And it is only now that they start to relax a little.
Yeah, understandable. They were kind of performing, like, allegorically brain surgery on their best friend, so fair.
I'd like to say this is probably also the moment then that Bev takes off their goggles, takes off the mask. They're like, "All right, we're all good.
Yeah.
Everything's okay."
Yeah.
That they sit and lean back a little on the workbench. I have to say, thank you.
Oh, well, you're very welcome, of course. I honestly couldn't have done it without you.
They look a little puzzled. Really? You seem to have a handle.
Oh, I might have been able to figure something out, but without your connection to Talkie, it probably would have at the very least, caused I'll be honest, a fair amount of probably undue pain and distress.
Bev kind of grimaces a little.
Yeah, he sort of shrugs like it might have worked, but it would not have been a pleasant experience. I think we managed to avoid that with your sort of insight there.
Bev kind of looks off to the side a little bit. You can tell that they have a very small smile. Like, yeah, I did a thing. But that smile fades a little. I just kind of wish I could help more somehow. And as they trail off, Taki goes, spell the word assistant. Immediately, Bev goes, no, we're not. And they kind of make a little shush motion.
Help, who? Help Talkie?
They look up from, they were holding on to Taki like when you're shaking somebody. And then it's like, wait. They look up a little bewildered. It's I'll be roll something.
Nah.
So that's deception. You can roll inside if you'd like.
I think I will roll, because that... It does beat my passive, I'll say that. I'll give you that, and whatever happens with this roll. Okay, well, the roll will beat that. This is... is my insight? Yeah, that's a 19.
Nice. But they go, yeah, helping Taki, and anything else that I could, and as they kind of start to stammer a little, you kind of start connecting the dots, wanting to help you with stuff. Maybe not just Taki.
Uh-huh.
And when Taki mentioned assistance, you have a funny feeling that
Yeah.
that was proposing something different.
Yeah. Oh boy.
But eventually they trail off and they grow quiet. It's all right. It's not possible anyway. So they stare hard at the floor.
Yeah. He he puts a hand on their shoulder and
They do flinch a moment.
eh, hmm he he just sort of is quiet for a moment and nods and says, "I'm afraid you're right. I wish I could say otherwise."
I I know. I know that I'm right. And it's not an arrogant kind of thing. I've seen through talking a couple of other timelines. It's never a possibility. It couldn't happen. And you wouldn't let it anyway. I'm, I'm just a kid.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't want to say anything. And they kind of pointedly look at Taki. But Taki makes a single like beep.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got kind of um like half apologetic, half like solemn kind of look, and uh gives their shoulder a soft squeeze and says, "Well, just know that it's not personal. I just sort of I did make the decision not to travel with children after what happened the last time I did. It's not a mistake I want to repeat."
They nod and they say, I know. I was just I was just dumb, you know?
No,
I
it's not dumb to be hopeful.
but they turn to the professor. But it is. Everything everything has gone wrong. And to have hope It's pointless and it's terrifying.
I agree that it can be terrifying. I disagree that it's pointless. I think it's sometimes the only thing sometimes it's all that you have left. And it's important to be able to recognize and hold on to that. There may not be any possibility here with me, but you have possibilities.
I, but you hear talking say, throw the word potential. They hold talking and kind of just stare silently. You know, that is what I wanted to really talk with you about.
Mm-hmm.
I I've made up my mind about where I want to go
Mm-hmm.
and what I want to do.
Okay.
And I've decided. They look a little scared, a bit hesitant. But then they stand up. They look. It now switches to a look of determination. I I'm going to start fresh, start anew. I want to go somewhere else, anywhere. Just start over.
Eh,
I don't want to go back to where I came from. It'll just make more of a mess, and I don't really belong there anymore.
and the professor smiles. And he nods. And he says, "That is your decision to make."
The only problem is, and they sit back down. I've read about so many places, I wouldn't really know where to go first. I was thinking that maybe it could be somewhere technologically advanced, enough to fix Talkie, but now that we fixed them here, well, I we could go anywhere. And it's exciting, but also kind of scary.
Yes.
So I'd like to I'd like to ask one more favor, if
Mm-hmm.
that's okay.
Of course, dear.
Can you help me pick where to go?
Yes. And, let's see. I'm not sure. Hmm.
Oh, Let me roll.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's hammer space. It's a 5. They pull out a book, and you realize that it's some kind of atlas.
Mm.
And they open it up and they start kind of looking through the pages. Because I've read a few things about this one, and then they point to one page, but I wasn't really quite sure because of this thing, and then there's this other one. Um, and I will say that you do notice that they have started to kind of ease up again to
Mm.
be able to talk a little more. In fact, this is probably the most that you've heard them talk
Mm-hmm.
in a while.
Mm-hmm.
But, they look through a few more pages and then look at you almost expectantly, waiting for some response,
Mm-hmm.
maybe suggestion.
Yeah. Um, and this is an atlas of the planet that Inkwell's on,
uh,
or what kind of atlas is this?
that's a great question.
Mm.
I forget that atlases can be different categories. Uh, uh, yeah, that makes sense. So,
It's honestly up to you because
because rather than uh, the different places for Inkwell, you realize that these are different planets.
oh yeah, because he can do that. That's an option. Okay, so it's more like a galactic atlas.
Yeah.
Uh
Though,
huh.
as Bev flips a few more pages, you do spot Story and Inkwell.
Uh huh.
Because, I think it's good.
Yeah, yeah. And I think probably with something that broad, he has honestly probably a lot of input. He's gonna point to, if we open up to like a broad sort of page, he's gonna point to like the middle of the exact center of the sort of depicted galaxy and just sort of say like not here. Um,
Not here.
like trust me on this one, you don't want to go there. Um, and
Is it bad?
yeah, it is.
Like uninhabitable bad, or just like
No, it's just full of terrible people.
and Bev kind of gives this face like, huh?
Um, no, trust me, you don't. That's where I came from. You don't want to go there. um,
That's right. That's
Valagray.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I I don't know as much about it as you do, but
I would kind of hope and expect so, considering.
yeah. But I must admit, I was a little bit interested, but only because of, well, I've been reading a lot about um time travel
Mm,
and interdimensional travel, and it's
certainly.
fascinating.
Mm.
But you said that they're bad.
Yes, and unfortunately, they kind of have a thing. They're they really are truly awful people. They only allow their own kind on the planet.
Uh,
Yeah. It wouldn't be possible for a number of reasons that are completely out of my control. Um, but as long as we stay out of their sort of sphere of influence. There are plenty of other very nice places, and he'll sort of circle and point out various nicer places in the galaxy. Places, some of them he's been, some of them are more by reputation. And he pauses, sort of considering, and he says, "What are you interested in? What are you most interested in learning about, or sort of?" I mean, you can obviously take and change your path throughout your life. So I'm not going to stick you somewhere that only does one thing ever. That would be honestly short-sighted. But is there anything in particular that you've got an interest for?
Bev ponders this for a moment. You kind of have, you see this thoughtful look go over their face, like, I hadn't, there are probably a lot of things. But, they're thinking very hard about it.
Mm-hmm.
Say, they go, well, I do like the idea of traveling anywhere,
Mm-hmm.
Uninterrupted.
Mm-hmm.
I do a little bit of home.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe where the technology's at least okay. Maybe where there's a lot of the art.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe with wide open plains and trees. Naturey stuff.
Mm-hmm. All right. And he gets in almost like, not mischievous is not quite the right word, but
And I think I know the vibe.
yeah, a sort of like knowing smile, and flips through a few pages, and then flips through a few more, and stops at an entry for a world that has sort of, an overview of it, has sort of those things that they've mentioned, and has is technologically advanced enough to have like sort of early, like, space travel, like not super early, but like, they've got like, faster than light like they can get around, they're not planet bound, but they're also not like super hyper advanced. So yeah, just sort of this like other world that's got like a good it's relatively peaceful. It's got good technology. It's got a good sort of like system going on. It's not especially turbulent, and it's made to look out for people who don't necessarily have a lot of either wealth or whatever. It doesn't matter. It takes care of its people, sort of place.
I want to go there.
Yeah, I know. Same,
Me,
right?
the player. I want to go here.
Yeah. No, it's pretty idealistic. It's pretty ideal, this place. And you know, I think he sort of like opens to this and just sort of like sort of goes through the attached notes to like double check, and just sort of like sort of turns the book to face Bev again, and shrugs a bit and says, how about this one?
As the you can see their eyes going from left to right as they're like reading all the stuff, and their eyes widen, and they go, that one's great. It's amazing. So, and then you can tell that their legs kind of like they swing their legs a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
When do you think you could?
Whenever you like.
Would I be allowed to?
Well, allowed to go there? Certainly. We could find you somewhere to live there. And if you change your mind and want to go somewhere else, they've got space travel.
Space travel.
Mm. And considering their let's see, where are they at magically? They've probably got some, at least same level of planar travel as this planet, or this. We're sort of in the middle of nowhere right now. As your home planet, that is. If you get high enough, you have to work at it, but you can cross planes. Eventually.
Bev continues to nod. So, thank you. Really. For letting me stay here. For fixing Taki. And picking a place that I might be able to call home.
You're welcome.
They look solemn. I don't know how I'll be able to repay.
Oh, don't even think of it.
But I should.
No.
Somehow.
No, you don't have to. This is my gift to you, child.
Again.
A gift, given freely. You're not Fae, are you?
They giggle a little bit. I don't think so.
Well, then that should be all right.
I really don't have much. Can I give you a gift?
Oh. He looks a little surprised.
Don't get too excited. They actually just hold out their arms. Would you like a hug?
Yes. And yeah, he's gonna hug Bevin.
And they're gonna hug back.
Mm.
And they squeeze the professor a bit tightly, not too tightly, but a little more force than you thought.
Yeah, yeah. And the professor gives Bevin a nice firm hug back. Mm.
I must admit, and they pull away a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna miss it here.
I'm going to
You
miss you too.
really?
Of course.
Okay. And you don't have to insight it.
Mm.
You have a feeling that there's still some doubt, that they're having trouble fully believing it, but with another soft smile, maybe they're starting to.
Mm-hmm.
But soon they get up. Um, I do kind of want to check the place out.
Oh, certainly. Certainly. Well, no time like the present. And he like straightens up and um just sort of like uh straightens out his clothes and starts like walking off towards the console room.
That is now. Uh, you can tell they have a little more pep in their step as they follow closely behind. But they remain quiet as they watch you. Well, do your thing. After all, you shouldn't touch the console unless, well, you're you.
Yeah, generally, yes. And yeah, I think they after a sort of increase in the noise, they land with a thud. Um, and and the professor opens the doors. Shall we?
You can tell Bev was very excited, and then you opened the door,
Mm.
and you can tell there's still excitement, but it starts fading very quickly. They seem a bit scared.
Mm-hmm.
They take a step back. Um, and can you roll history with advantage?
Yeah. Okay, that's a 23.
Wow.
Mm.
All right. um, as take another step back, you can tell they are breathing a bit quicker, only slightly, and you suddenly realize you you had rescued them from that room,
Mm.
but they had also stayed then in the ellipsis. You realize that this must be the first time in years that they've even seen inside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Professor's gonna go over to Bevin and uh, I think he's gonna close the doors for now, and go over to Bevin and just sort of like, stand close and um, you know, uh, hold their shoulder and just sort of try to be the grounding presence.
When you place a hand on their shoulder, they don't flinch, but that same arm comes up and clutches at the edge of your sleeve.
Hush, hush. It's all right. It's all right.
I'm sorry. It's, and they take another step back. It's,
It's a
um,
lot. It's a lot.
to, I, uh, their eyes look a little glassy, but they're trying to hold themselves together. Actually, maybe I should make a whiz save.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because why not?
Yeah.
Take a look.
He's just going like, "You're not used to this. That's okay. That's okay."
Oh, that's great. That makes a lot of sense. They got a nat one.
Oh, jeez.
um, but you try to ground them to calm, but they kind of wrench themselves away from your hand,
Mm.
and they back up a few more steps before curling up into a ball as they're kind of close to the ground now.
Mm-hmm.
Their breathing has become shallow.
Mm-hmm. The professor just sort of like sits on the ground where he is, not getting closer, but just to sort of be on the same level. And uh hmm. Roll a
So,
perception?
ooh, perception. Uh, uh, I'll probably roll at disadvantage though.
Yeah, sure. It's a low DC
Okay.
though. For
Okay. I rolled the same number twice.
Oh,
So the dice said 6 and only 6.
okay. Well, that actually beats the DC. It.
But did you pick 5?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, no. All it is the pitch of the ellipsis changes, and there's a slight sort of like uh, thrumming in the floor, just sort of like the background hum, but made sort of tangible, and it's somehow like it feels like a comforting noise. Like how that can be distinguished from the rest is unclear, but like it's sort of an increase of the ever present hum that sort of Bevin has been used to for the past, however long they've been in the ellipsis. So there is that.
And at first, Bev makes no motion. They're completely stock still. You can hear them muttering something in between rapid breaths. But
Mm-hmm.
as the thrum of the ellipsis uh, makes itself known, but not, you know,
Super obtrusively, yeah.
yeah. Um, Eventually, one of Bev's hands loosens its grip, and they place their hand on the ground, as if to feel it more.
Mm-hmm.
It is calming to them.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
And as they lift their head from their knees, you can tell a couple things they were muttering. It's various iterations of it's too much, it's too big.
Mm-hmm.
Too many.
Hmm.
What am I gonna do?
It's all right. You know, we can start with something small here. We can start with a room. and and go from there.
It's it's they grip tighter on their little ball. It's not just there's outside. No, there's no ceiling. There's there's nothing.
Yes. Yes, you're not used to that, are you?
They look a little panicked. They shake their head in response.
Well, that's all right. You know that that's just because that's what you've become used to. And you know that before you were stuck, you lived with that sort of reality every day for a long time. So you know somewhere in your head that it's all right, but it's not sort of the setting that you're on right now, and that's okay.
Just just thought I could handle.
That's all right. It's okay if you can't. If you're not ready yet, that's okay.
They start to tear up, but they nod.
I'm very proud of you for trying in the first place. But now we know that we're going to have to take this gradually, and that's okay.
Just I didn't want to bother you anymore.
No, it's.
You've already done so much for me.
This
You
isn't.
didn't have to do anything else.
Stop. This isn't a bother. This isn't a bother. This is a gift for my good friend.
But I can't. I can't.
You don't have to pay me back. That's.
But
That's. I don't need repayment. I don't. That's just not how I operate. What could anyone possibly give me anyway? I have a time and space machine.
So, and they make a face. You have a feeling they think now that there is nothing that they could do, even if they wanted to repay you.
Hmm.
However, uh, you then hear Talkie say, spell the word compassion. That's why.
Hmm.
If there's one thing I can do, it's to accept your gift
Yes.
and to raise myself up. And then I can help. Maybe not you specifically.
Hmm.
Who knows when I'll see you again? But
Hmm.
but I can help like you're helping me, right?
Yes. If you want to help other people, that's that's I mean, there's no better cause in the world that I've found than that. If you would do that, it would certainly make me very proud.
They look little, just a little surprised, but they give a smile. It's it seems sad still, but they go. I'm gonna try my best, and I'll make you proud.
Hmm.
You'll see.
I know you will.
Uh, and with that, Bev does begin to cry, but they
Hmm.
still smile a bit, and they reach their arms out to you.
Yeah. Professor's gonna go in and give them a hug.
Think one or two moments pass, and then they go, so how big can the rooms get
What rooms?
in here? We have to start small, right? And
Oh,
then
in the ellipsis?
I thought that's what you meant.
Yes, yes. Well, I mean, we'll transition probably from here to sort of uh, rooms of various sizes out there, but we should probably start in here. Yes, that is probably the logical course of action. As it happens, I can make rooms so big um, that you cannot see the ceiling, but I have a feeling that we should not start with that.
You can tell their face goes, oh, I do not want.
Yeah, yeah.
But they kind of chuckle nervously.
Yes. Well, we can start with hmm, maybe of hmm, just something where the ceiling is visible, but rather tall. Maybe the library. Probably save the garden for later. At least that one.
Um, I would like to think they kind of gotten up from the floor now.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And do you think you would like to um, have it kind of start to fade out a little? The
Yeah.
two of them kind of walk, uh, walk, through the console room
Mm.
and discuss rooms. Uh,
Yeah.
what rooms they can make.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Because I realize how long this has gone, and I'm like, oh,
Mm. Yeah, yeah. No, they can discuss their sort of options and plans to sort of help Bevin acclimatize to more space and more things and more different things until they can, start getting Bevin sort of introduced outside and integrated, even. Yeah.
um, and as the scene fades out, you can see kind of maybe the inside of a just several different rooms, as if to signify we are passing through those until we just have a shot of outside. They'll get there eventually. But for now, I think that's where we end.
Yay. Yay.
Uh, I'd like to say thank you very much for playing.
Yes, you're welcome. This was wonderful. Yeah, thank you for playing with me. This was delightful. Hoo hoo.
um,
All right.
I guess
Yes.
to all of our listeners,
Hmm.
you have a nice time soon.
Yay. Thank you. Bye.
Uh,
All right.